How vaccine brain injuries were rebranded and erased. For over a century, doctors documented something now rarely discussed. Children who suffered severe neurological injuries, brain inflammation, nerve damage, developmental regression following vaccination. Hello, I am Dr. K. Paul Stoller. Back then, these reactions had a name, post-vaccinal encephalitis. And children who lost cognitive function were often described in the unfiltered language of the time as mentally retarded. Those cases were tragic, but they were visible. Families remembered them, communities remembered them, and the medical system had to acknowledge them. But then something happened. Section 1, the liability problem. Visual, headlines about lawsuits, 1970s, 1980s. By the early 1980s, lawsuits over DPT vaccine injuries were bankrupting manufacturers. In response, Congress passed the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act, shifting liability away from companies and onto the federal government. But there was a catch. The government was only required to compensate recognized vaccine injuries, and one of those was encephalopathy, brain damage. If that diagnosis became widespread, the financial liability would be enormous. So something else changed. Section 2, the rebranding of a brain injury. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, the word retarded was systematically removed from medicine, education, and federal law. At the very same time, another label expanded dramatically, autism, a broad, flexible, ambiguous diagnosis capable of lumping together mild social quirks, moderate disability, and profound neurological injury. The stark clarity of a brain-damaged child was replaced by a vague, spectrum-based term. A child who in 1985 would have been described as severely cognitively injured was now simply autistic. This shift didn't require proving vaccines caused autism. It only required redefining the injury into a category that no longer triggered legal compensation. Language didn't just influence culture, it controlled liability. Section 3, the disappearance of evidence. Whenever independent researchers compared vaccinated and unvaccinated children, the results were alarming, 3 to 7 times higher rates of chronic conditions in the vaccinated group. But these studies were routinely blocked, buried, or never published. Senator Ron Johnson recently revealed a major study from a top institution, completed in 2020, whose authors refused to publish it because the results violated medical orthodoxy. And so for decades, officials repeated the same phrase, there is no evidence, not because the evidence wasn't there, but because they refused to look. Section 4, how PR rewrote reality. A sophisticated public relations playbook was deployed. Create slippery language like safe and effective, never defined. Use independent experts to repeat scripted talking points. Frame any concern as paranoia or misinformation. Replace precise medical terms with emotionally disarming ones. And so, vaccine encephalopathy quietly vanished, replaced by an undefined, endlessly expandable concept, autism spectrum disorder. Section 5, the cracks in the narrative. But the facade is cracking. More than half of Americans now believe COVID vaccines cause significant harm. Millions personally know someone injured. Parents of autistic children, 40 to 70% of them, believe vaccination played a role. And recent political leaders, for the first time in decades, have openly said, we need to listen to these parents. Public trust has shifted. The old narrative is collapsing. For 100 years, vaccine brain injuries were not cured. They were rebranded, linguistically erased, and politically silenced. But truth has a way of resurfacing. Once enough people see the pattern, the spell of PR breaks. And now, for the first time, the nation is finally ready to confront what was hidden in plain sight all along. Awareness is the beginning of accountability.